Shabbat Shalom, everyone. So this week in Torah, we find our ancestors at the foot of the mountain. They stand there waiting while Moses receives the 10 Commandments from God. The Israelites have already displayed extreme courage and faith, surrounded by miracles as they fled Egypt and began their wandering in the wilderness. Again and again, the Israelites are asked to listen, to follow, to do as God through Moses commands. So here they stand at the foot of the mountain, and in one of the most well-known episodes in our story, our ancestors' faith fails them. Moses has been gone such a very long time. They've followed a God whom they could neither see nor hear, and they need something concrete, something they can reach out and touch in which to put their faith. So Aaron, the master of ritual for the Israelites, builds the golden calf for the people to worship. God, seeing the display, calls the Israelites a number of things, including calling them an Am Keshe Oref, a stiff-necked people. It's an interesting phrase, one which the rabbis have debated over the centuries, but one of the more commonly agreed upon meanings is that the Israelites are a people who are stubbornly unable to turn their heads to listen to advice or commandments. Given the context of the moment, when God is attempting to build a special personal relationship with this people, it's obvious why being a stiff-necked people could be a problem. God is concerned they will never be able to hold up their end of the deal if, at first sign of trouble, they build a new god of gold. Fast forward, 2026. I feel justified in saying that over the past handful of years, we have found ourselves wandering in our own modern wilderness. In addition to our own personal trials and struggles, as a community, we have faced political upheaval at home and abroad. The COVID-19 pandemic, October 7th, and now, again, war in the Middle East. It seems like we've seen challenge after challenge after challenge with little respite. In their own way, I imagine this is how the Israelites felt. And I am feeling an immense amount of compassion and understanding for them as I read the story this year. I feel their uncertainty. I feel their fear. And yes, I feel the pull toward being stiff-necked. How much easier it would be to sink into my own opinions and feelings and resist or ignore ideas that challenge me. I know I'm not alone in this. I know that because you've told me. I've had countless conversations with members of our Kol Ami family who are feeling all these things and more. Together, we are desperate for a clear, uncomplicated path forward. We would love to have a lighted aisle with arrows pointing us toward the nearest exit to a version of our world where we don't feel constantly stressed, worried about watching too much news, while also worried about what we might miss if we tune out. Half of us coming to synagogue, fervently hoping our rabbi will talk about this week's crisis and give us direction. The other half craving a break from the chaos of the world, hoping for something light and uplifting. So, to both halves of this community, I feel I should apologize. You won't leave tonight with 3 concrete assignments of how to face our world. And I can't in good conscience call myself rabbi without responding to the moment we find ourselves in. I've spent a good part of this week scouring the internet, searching for thoughtful and grounded takes on the bombing in Iran and the ensuing elevation of conflict in the region. As it turns out, everyone has something to say. There is so much to sift through. But as is often the case, my feelings were summed up well by Rabbi Josh Weinberg. As president of Ardsley, he stood here on our bima not so long ago as we voted in the World Zionist Congress elections. Also, we happen to be alumni of the same summer camp. Earlier this week, Rabbi Weinberg wrote, "We pray for the Americans and Israelis in harm's way and for the brave Israeli and American service members risking their lives in pursuit of a more peaceful future, for the people of Iran and for the entire Middle East. There will be time to debate the road that led us here and what success may look like, but this moment calls first for prayer and solidarity with the people of Israel and with the freedom-seeking people of Iran." As our Israeli siblings run over and over again to bomb shelters, as I receive WhatsApp messages from friends sending pictures of themselves with their 2-month-old baby celebrating Purim underground, as we see pictures and videos of the destruction in Iran, as we know American lives are at stake, we cannot be so stiff-necked that we lose our humanity. Rabbi Weinberg's words remind us that there will be time for debate over both American and global politics. And indeed, that time may come soon, but we cannot value politics over people. That was the focus of the first half of this week. The other half has been dedicated to the memory of Rabbi Dr. Andrea Weiss. Rabbi Weiss was a provost of HUC-JIR, our Reform Movement seminary. She was a brilliant teacher. She was the first woman to ordain rabbis in our movement, including myself. She was a tiny woman, and she was an absolute giant among the Jewish people. She died this week far too young, after a year-long battle with cancer. This morning, I attended her funeral virtually, along with nearly 500 other people. And in what can only be described as classic Rabbi Weiss fashion, she taught me something at her own funeral, something that is exactly what I needed to hear and is precisely perfect for this moment that we find ourselves in. In her eulogy, Rabbi Weiss's daughter, Rebecca, shared an excerpt from her mom's journal that she'd been keeping this past year through her illness. She wrote her brief reflections on some of her go-to texts from our tradition. And here's the one that stood out to me today. Psalm 24, verse 17. Kaveh el Adonai, chazak ve'ametz libecha, ve'kaveh el Adonai. There are a million translations of this, but this is the one I found that spoke to me. Wait for Adonai. Fill your waiting with hope in Adonai. Let your heart be strong and of good courage, and wait hopefully for Adonai. Rabbi Weiss's reflection on this psalm was short, clear, and to the point, as so much of her teaching was. She wrote, "We can strengthen our hearts to maintain the capacity to hope." The Israelites were not able to wait for Adonai. After 40 days and nights of waiting, they lost faith and reverted to their stiff-necked ways. We, too, are waiting. For many of us, it is hard to see the divine in our world right now, to feel moral clarity or see the path forward. But this psalm does not suggest that we wait in stillness, doing nothing but twiddling our thumbs and practicing patience. No, we are supposed to fill our waiting with hope. And as Rabbi Weiss teaches us, we can strengthen our hearts to maintain the capacity to hope. Even as she battled cancer, she believed this. So yes, we can hold the complexities of this moment. We can be deeply concerned for the well-being and safety of Israelis, while also worrying for Iranians who seek peace for their families, while also being alarmed at the prospect of ongoing military conflict, while also being unsure of the political path forward, while also being distressed at the political path that got us here in the first place. We can do all of those things, carry all of those feelings, because our hearts are strong enough. And if there's anything from my teacher that I want to lift up for all of us this Shabbat, that's it. That not only are we strong enough to hold concern for all, but we can also, and we must also, increase our capacity for hope. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may this be God's will.